Teen love gone wrong, the murder of Trey Dean Wright. Before we dive in, kindly hit the subscribe button and let us know where you are watching from in the comment. It began like every other summer in small-town Alabama. Quiet streets, warm nights, a place where everyone knew each other's names and nothing ever really happened. But beneath that calm, something dark was brewing. Something that would shatter families. Something no one saw coming. Trey Dean Wright was 17. A football player. Popular. Kind. He had that easy smile that made people trust him. Teachers liked him. Girls liked him even more. But there was one girl who captured all of his attention. Her name was Emily Carter. She was 16, soft-spoken, shy, with eyes that could melt even the coldest heart. Trey and Emily were inseparable. They were the kind of couple everyone envied. Walking through the school hallways hand in hand, sharing milkshakes at the diner, writing each other's initials on notebooks. Their love was young, raw, and intense. Too intense. First, it was innocent. Sweet text messages. Late-night calls that lasted until sunrise. The kind of love that made you believe nothing could ever go wrong. But behind those perfect smiles, cracks were forming. Trey's friends started to notice it. He wasn't showing up for practice. He stopped hanging out. He seemed distracted. "Man, you good?" His best friend Marcus asked one day after school. Trey forced a smile. "Yeah, just tired." But he wasn't tired. He was drained. Emily had started changing. The girl who used to laugh at everything now questioned everyone he talked to. Every message. Every like on social media. Who's she? Why did she comment on your post? Are you talking to her again? It was endless. Trey loved her, but the jealousy was suffocating him. Still, he stayed, because in his heart, he thought he could fix it. By the start of senior year, things had gotten worse. Arguments, breakups, makeups. It was a cycle that seemed to never end. People at school noticed. Some whispered about it. Others stayed silent. One night, Trey confided in his cousin, Alyssa. "I don't know what to do anymore," he said, staring at the glow of his phone. "She keeps saying if I ever leave her, she'll do something crazy." Alyssa frowned. "Like what?" He hesitated. "Like, she said she'd hurt herself. Or me. I don't even know if she means it." Alyssa's voice was soft. "Trey, that's not love." He nodded, but he didn't listen. He couldn't. The fall air rolled in. Football season was ending. Prom was a few months away. Trey was starting to pull away, focusing on his future. College scouts had started to notice him. He had plans, dreams. But Emily, she felt him slipping away, and it terrified her. She started showing up everywhere he went. Outside practice, at his job, even outside his house late at night. At first, Trey thought it was love. But love doesn't feel like fear. One night, his mother, Angela Wright, heard a knock on the door around 11:30 p.m. When she opened it, Emily stood there, her eyes swollen from crying. "I just need to talk to Trey," she whispered. Angela hesitated. "It's late, sweetheart." "Please," Emily begged. "Just a few minutes." Angela sighed and called for her son. Trey came downstairs, looking half asleep and annoyed. "Emily, you need to go home," he said softly. But she wouldn't. She clung to him, crying harder. "I can't lose you, Trey. I can't." Angela watched from the doorway, heart sinking. Something about the way Emily looked, desperate, shaking, unhinged, made her uneasy. When Emily finally left, Angela turned to her son. "Trey, something's wrong with that girl." He shrugged. "Yeah, I know." Weeks passed. Trey tried to set boundaries. He told Emily he needed space. That's when the messages started. Hundreds of them. Long paragraphs. Threats. "If I can't have you, no one will. You don't get to leave me. You'll regret it." Trey started ignoring them, but that only made things worse. Friends saw him getting quieter, more distant. He stopped going out altogether. One night, he called Marcus again. "Man, she won't stop texting me. I don't even know what to do anymore." Marcus laughed nervously. "Block her." "I did," Trey said. She just makes new accounts. Marcus paused. That's not normal, bro. I know, Trey whispered, but I think she's watching me. By December, things took a darker turn. Emily's posts online became cryptic. Sad quotes, black hearts, photos of Trey with captions like, "You'll always be mine." Her friends grew worried. Some told Trey to stay away. Others tried to talk to her. But Emily had made up her mind. If she couldn't have Trey, no one could. On a cold night in January, Trey texted his cousin again. He said he was done. He planned to meet Emily one last time, to talk, to end it for good. Alyssa begged him not to go, but Trey believed closure would fix everything. "I'll be fine," he said. "It's just a talk." Those were the last words she ever heard from him. When Trey didn't come home that night, Angela panicked. She called his phone. No answer. She called Marcus. Nothing. By morning, she was pacing the living room, her hands trembling. "Something's wrong," she whispered. She went to the police. They told her he was probably just out with friends. But Angela knew her son. Trey wasn't the type to disappear. Hours turned into days. The search began. Flyers, phone calls, social media posts. Everyone was looking for Trey Dean Wright. But deep down, Angela couldn't shake the feeling that she already knew who was responsible. Then, a breakthrough. A neighbor reported seeing Trey's car parked on a dirt road outside town late that night. Detectives rushed to the scene. They found tire tracks, footprints, and a single earring, gold, heart-shaped, lying in the mud. Angela recognized it instantly. It belonged to Emily. When police brought Emily in for questioning, she looked calm. Too calm. "Emily?" the detective said softly. "When was the last time you saw Trey?" She blinked, pretending to think. A few days ago. We broke up. Did you meet him last night?" She shook her head. "No, I was home." But her voice trembled, and her hands wouldn't stop shaking. When detectives left the room, she broke down, crying, screaming, begging for someone to believe her. But the truth was already unraveling. Back at the scene, investigators made a grim discovery. A shoe, half buried in mud, blood on the heel, and just a few feet away something worse. A shallow grave. Inside was Trey Dean Wright, 17 years old, beaten, left alone in the cold Alabama dirt. The town fell silent. His friends couldn't speak. His mother collapsed, and Emily Carter became the prime suspect. But here's where things take a shocking turn, because Emily's story wasn't as simple as it seemed. As police dug deeper, they uncovered a web of lies, secrets, and manipulation that no one saw coming. This wasn't just a teenage love story gone wrong. It was something darker, something that made detectives question everything they thought they knew about Emily and about Trey. The news broke before sunrise. Teenage boy, found buried in a shallow grave, identified as 17-year-old Trey Dean Wright. The town of Brooksville, Alabama, would never be the same again. Police lights flashed across the empty field where his body was discovered. Reporters stood behind yellow tape. Neighbors gathered in silence, whispering prayers. Detective Harrison Cole, a 30-year veteran of the force, stood beside the scene, jaw clenched. He had seen death before, but never like this. Trey's body told a story. Bruises, defensive wounds. He fought back, hard, and someone he knew had done this. At the right home, Trey's mother sat on the couch, clutching his football jersey. Her hands trembled as she stared at the front door, hoping he'd walk through it one more time. But deep down, she knew that knock from the police would change everything. Detective Cole approached gently. "Mrs. Wright," he said quietly, "I'm so sorry for your loss." Her voice broke. "Who would do this to him? My baby never hurt anyone." Cole hesitated. "We're still looking into it, but we do have some leads." Angela's eyes filled with tears. "Emily," she whispered, "you think it was her, don't you?" Cole didn't answer, but his silence said everything. Back at the station, Emily sat in the interrogation room again. Same room, same chair, only this time she looked different. Her eyes were red, her hair tangled, her hands clasped tightly together. Detective Maria Benson, known for her calm but sharp instincts, sat across from her. "Emily," she began softly. "We found Trey." Emily froze. Her lips parted. Her breathing quickened. What do you mean?" "He's gone," Benson said quietly. "We found his body last night." Emily covered her mouth, gasping. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She whispered, No, it can't be true." But Benson watched her closely. Something about her reaction felt rehearsed. As investigators combed through Trey's phone, they uncovered hundreds of messages, most of them from Emily. Long paragraphs, emotional pleas, and dark threats. "If you leave me, I'll make you regret it. You can't ghost me, Trey. I'll find you. I know where you go after practice." Detectives exchanged uneasy looks. This wasn't love. It was obsession. Detective Cole called for a full digital forensic sweep. Every text, every email, every deleted photo. Hours later, a tech specialist named Evan Miller walked in holding a hard drive. "You're gonna want to see this," he said. On the monitor appeared a series of deleted screenshots from Emily's phone. Private messages, fake social media accounts, anonymous DMs sent to Trey. They all had one thing in common. They were written to manipulate, threaten, and isolate him. One message read, "If you don't answer, I'll tell everyone what you did. You'll lose everything." Another, "You belong to me. Don't forget that." Cole exhaled sharply. She was stalking him through multiple accounts. Miller nodded. "And it gets worse. She wasn't just tracking him online. Investigators discovered a small GPS tracker attached beneath Trey's car. When traced, it was purchased under a fake name, but the credit card belonged to Emily Carter's father. Cole rubbed his temples. She was following him in real life. They pulled surveillance footage from a nearby gas station near the dirt road where Trey was last seen. And there she was, Emily, standing by a black sedan, filling a gas can. At 9:46 p.m., the same night Trey disappeared. When detectives confronted her with the footage, Emily's calm began to crack. I just wanted to talk to him," she cried. "He wasn't answering me." "Emily," Benson said carefully, "did you meet him that night?" I didn't mean for anything bad to happen." Her voice trembled. Her fingers twisted nervously. Cole leaned forward. "Then tell us what did happen." Emily looked down at her lap, her voice barely a whisper. "He said he was done with me, that he didn't love me anymore. I just wanted him to listen." Cole's eyes narrowed. "So you met him?" She nodded slowly. "But he wouldn't stop yelling. He said I was crazy, that he was blocking my number." Tears streamed down her face. "I just wanted to talk, but then he grabbed my arm. I panicked." She looked up, eyes wild. "I didn't mean to hurt him." Cole exchanged a glance with Benson. They'd heard it before. "I didn't mean to, but evidence doesn't lie." Meanwhile, Trey's cousin Alyssa was brought in for questioning. Her hands shook as she recounted their final conversation. "He said he was meeting her one last time," she whispered. "He promised he'd be home." "Did he say where they were meeting?" Alyssa nodded. "Somewhere quiet. A back road near the old quarry." She picked the spot. Cole felt a chill crawl down his spine. That was the same area where they found his body. Forensics confirmed Trey's cause of death. Blunt force trauma to the head. The murder weapon, a heavy rock, found nearby, stained with blood and fingerprints. The prints matched Emily Carter. But when confronted with the evidence, Emily's story changed again. "It wasn't supposed to happen like that," she sobbed. "He said he was leaving town, that he met someone else. I lost control. I didn't mean to." Cole cut her off. "So you killed him?" She shook her head violently. "No, I hit him, but he was still breathing. I ran. When I came back, he was gone. Someone else must have." Cole slammed a folder on the table. "There's no one else, Emily." She froze. Her tears stopped. For the first time, she looked truly cornered. Outside the station, the town buzzed with rumors. Was it a crime of passion? A planned murder? Or something even darker? News vans lined the streets. Classmates flooded social media with tributes and anger. Hashtag Justice for Trey trended locally for days. People demanded answers, but the truth was still tangled. Because hidden in Emily's deleted files, investigators found something chilling. A series of unsent messages that suggested she wasn't acting alone. One draft read, "He said it's done. You know what to do." Another, "Meet me after. Don't tell anyone." Cole stared at the messages in disbelief. Who was she talking to? Evan scrolled through the data. Looks like an account under the name Riley K_17, but it's been wiped clean. Cole frowned. "Can we trace it?" Miller nodded. "Already on it." Within hours, they had a lead. The account was connected to a local teen, Riley Kane, a friend of Emily's from school. Riley was brought in. He looked nervous, chewing on his sleeve as detectives entered the room. Cole placed a photo of Trey on the table. "You knew him?" Riley nodded. "Yeah, everyone knew Trey. You were close with Emily too, right?" He swallowed hard. "We used to hang out, but she changed after they broke up." Cole leaned forward. "Did she ever ask you for help? Maybe to scare Trey?" Riley looked away. His silence said more than words. "Riley," Benson said gently, "we already know you were texting her that night. Help us understand what happened." Riley's eyes filled with tears. "She said she just wanted to talk to him. She told me to come in case things got bad. I waited in the car. I didn't think she'd actually, you know?" Cole's jaw tightened. "You were there." Riley nodded. "But when I heard yelling, I got scared. I ran." That confession changed everything. Emily wasn't alone. She had help. Even if Riley didn't touch Trey, he knew what was coming. Prosecutors now had a conspiracy case, and the town had a villain. For more chilling true crime stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. The station was silent that night. Only the hum of old fluorescent lights and the low buzz of computers filled the air. Detective Harrison Cole sat at his desk, eyes glued to the screen. He had replayed the timeline 100 times, the texts, the gas station footage, the phone pings. Everything pointed to Emily Carter. Until that message. "It's done." What now? Sent from Emily's phone, 1 hour after Trey's estimated time of death. But according to the records, Emily's phone had been powered off at that time. Cole leaned back in his chair, staring at the evidence board. Photos of Trey, Emily, Riley. Strings connecting moments that didn't make sense anymore. Something wasn't right. He called in his tech specialist, Evan Miller, again. "Pull up the message data from Emily's phone. I want timestamps, coordinates, tower logs, everything." Evan nodded, typing rapidly. A few seconds later, he frowned. This is weird." Cole turned. "How weird?" The message wasn't sent from her actual phone. It came from a backup clone. Same number, same ID, different IMEI. Cole's jaw tightened. Someone cloned her phone? Evan nodded. And whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing. Across town, the Wright family was preparing for Trey's funeral. A small church, white flowers, his football jersey draped over the casket. Angela Wright sat in the front pew, motionless. Her face was pale, eyes swollen from endless crying. As people filed in, whispers filled the air. She was so young. Why did he stay with her? Didn't anyone see this coming? Outside, news vans waited like vultures. A headline scrolled across every screen. "Teen love turns deadly. Emily Carter faces life in prison." But inside that small church, Detective Cole sat in the back row, silent, uneasy. Something about this case still felt unfinished. Later that night, he visited Trey's best friend, Darius Hill, who hadn't spoken publicly since the murder. Darius opened the door, his eyes red. "Detective, I already told the cops everything." "I know," Cole said gently, "but I think someone's lying. Maybe someone close to both of them." Darius hesitated, then motioned him in. The walls were covered in pictures of Trey, on the football field, laughing at school, holding a dog. "He didn't deserve any of this." Darius whispered. No, he didn't, Cole replied. But tell me, did Trey ever mention anyone else bothering him? Someone besides Emily? Darius's expression changed. He shifted uncomfortably. Well, there was this guy, Jason. Jason who? Jason Carter, Emily's older brother. Cole froze. He hadn't seen that name once in the reports. Why didn't you mention him before? Because he was gone. Moved out of town 2 years ago. But Trey said he'd been texting him. Weird messages. Threats. Cole's pulse quickened. Do you still have them? Darius nodded slowly, unlocking his phone. He scrolled, then handed it over. There it was. A message from an unknown number. Stay away from my sister. You'll regret what you did. She's not yours to hurt. Cole's heart dropped. The number matched the same pattern as the cloned phone. Back at the station, Evan confirmed it. Yep, the clone originated from a device registered under Jason Carter's old ID. Cole cursed under his breath. So, while Emily was sitting in custody, someone else was sending messages from her number to make it look like her. Exactly. Where is Jason Carter now? Evan checked the national database. According to DMV records, he's in Atlanta. Cole's eyes darkened. Book a warrant. We're bringing him in. 3 days later, Atlanta PD located Jason in a rundown apartment complex. When officers knocked, he tried to flee through the back. But the chase didn't last long. Jason Carter, 24 years old, former mechanic, no steady job, was handcuffed on the spot. Cole arrived hours later. Jason sat in the interrogation room, smirking like he'd already won. You came all the way from Alabama for me? He said. Cole dropped a folder on the table. Let's talk about the message you sent after Trey Wright died. Jason laughed softly. You think I killed him? Cole's eyes narrowed. I think you helped cover it up. Jason leaned back, crossing his arms. Emily's my sister. You think I'd let her rot in a cell if she didn't deserve it? Cole stayed calm. Then why clone her phone? Jason's smirk faded. I don't know what you're talking about. Cole opened the folder. Photos of the cloned SIM card, timestamps, geolocation data. All traced back to Jason's apartment. Jason's jaw tightened. Then he smiled again coldly. You don't get it, do you, detective? Trey wasn't some innocent angel. Cole's voice dropped. Explain. Jason's tone shifted. He played her, messed with her head, told her he loved her, then cheated on her, bragged about it. Cole frowned. And that justified murder? Jason shrugged. I didn't kill him, but I wasn't gonna let him ruin her life. Not after what he did. Cole leaned forward. So what did you do? Jason's eyes flickered toward the camera in the corner. He smirked again. Ask Emily, he said. She's the one who called me that night. Cole froze. She called you? Jason nodded. She was crying, panicked, said Trey was gone, said she didn't know what to do. I told her to leave. I'd handle it. Cole's heartbeat pounded in his ears. You disposed of the body, he said quietly. Jason didn't answer, but the silence was enough. Later that night, Cole reviewed Emily's phone logs again. There it was, a 1-minute call placed to Jason's number at 10:32 p.m., right after Trey's death. Cole muttered. She didn't bury him. He did. They confronted Emily the next morning. She looked hollow, pale, exhausted. When Cole mentioned Jason's arrest, her face drained of color. Jason? She whispered. You found him? He told us you called him, Cole said. He said you asked for help. Tears filled her eyes. He promised he'd make it go away. I was scared. I didn't want Trey to die. I swear. Cole's tone softened. Did you hit him? Yes, but just once. He fell. There was blood. I ran. I didn't know what to do, so I called Jason. Cole nodded slowly. And he buried Trey. She sobbed uncontrollably. He told me no one would ever find out. The confession sealed it. The puzzle finally made sense. Emily struck Trey. Jason buried the body, then cloned her phone to send messages, to make it look like she was taunting someone covering tracks. It was a cover-up built on family loyalty. But it didn't end there. Forensic teams searched Jason's apartment. In a hidden box beneath his bed, they found Trey's missing phone. And on it, a video, shaky footage, confrontation, Emily crying, Trey shouting, Jason's voice in the background yelling, "Stop! Enough!" Then silence. The screen went black. Cole watched it in disbelief. This wasn't just a moment of rage. It was a night that spiraled out of control, captured forever. The DA decided to charge Jason Carter with tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice, and unlawful disposal of a body. Emily's charge was reduced to manslaughter, due to new evidence showing she didn't plan the killing. But in Brooksville, the damage was done. The Wrights lost a son. The Carters lost 2 children to the system. And the town lost its innocence. Months later, Cole visited Trey's grave. The air was still. Sunlight filtered through the trees. He placed a hand on the headstone. Trey Dean Wright, 2007 to 2024. He whispered, "I'm sorry it took so long." Then his phone buzzed. A message from Evan. Rain splattered against the windows of the sheriff's office. The storm outside seemed to echo the chaos inside. Detective Harmon sat at his desk, a cold cup of coffee trembling in his hand. His eyes were red, sleepless. He'd been replaying the interrogation footage of Hannah Blake for hours. The same words repeated over and over in his mind. "I didn't mean to hurt him," but the way she said it, flat, empty, didn't sound like guilt. It sounded like fear. Fear of something bigger than herself. Harmon leaned forward, whispering to himself, "What are you hiding, Hannah?" 2 towns over, Hannah sat alone in a holding cell. The walls felt closer every minute. Her fingers tapped nervously against her knee. She had confessed to the murder of Trey Dean Wright, but her story didn't make sense. She claimed Trey came at her during an argument near the riverbank, that she pushed him, that he fell, hit his head. But the coroner's report told a different story. Multiple blunt force injuries, post-mortem wounds. This wasn't an accident. It was rage, or something worse. The sheriff entered, a stern look on his face. "Hannah, we've been patient," he said, "but we know there's more." She looked up, her eyes glassy. "You wouldn't believe me. Try me." Her voice cracked as she whispered, "It wasn't just me." The room went still. Back in Trey's hometown, grief was turning to anger. Vigils were being held at the high school football field. His friends, some crying, some furious, held up photos and signs that read, "Justice for Trey." His mother, Caroline Wright, stood silently near the 50-yard line. She clutched Trey's football jersey to her chest, refusing to let go. Reporters swarmed her, microphones out, but she said nothing. Only tears streamed down her face. She didn't believe the story they were telling. She didn't believe her son had fallen. She wanted the truth. Detective Harmon met with the district attorney that night. Files spread across the table. Phone records, social media messages, screenshots. Pattern was emerging. In the weeks leading up to Trey's death, there were hundreds of messages between him and Hannah. Jealousy, arguments, accusations of cheating. But then, something strange. A third number appeared in the chat logs. Unfamiliar, unregistered, sending threatening texts to both Trey and Hannah. "Stay away from each other. You don't know what's coming. If you talk, you'll regret it." The messages stopped 2 days before Trey was found dead. Harmon leaned back, rubbing his temples. Someone else was involved. Someone hiding in the shadows. He called the tech unit. "Trace that number," he said. "Now." Hours later, the results came in. The number was registered under a fake name, but the IP address led somewhere shocking. Hannah's best friend, Lily Carter. Morning came fast. Gray skies hung low over the quiet town. Lily Carter answered the knock on her door in pajama pants and an oversized hoodie. When she saw the detective's badge, her face drained of color. "Lily Carter?" "Yes. We need to talk." Her hands trembled. "Is this about Trey?" "Yes. Let's start with why your phone number was sending threats to him and Hannah." Her lips parted. She didn't answer. At the station, Lily sat in the same chair Hannah had occupied days earlier. Tears streaked her cheeks as she stared at the metal table. "I didn't mean for it to go that far," she said softly. Detective Harmon's pen stopped moving. "Go that far?" he repeated. Lily's eyes flickered. "I just wanted to scare him. I didn't think." "Didn't think what?" "That she'd actually do it." Harmon leaned forward. "Tell me everything." Lily took a shaky breath. Hannah and Trey were fighting all the time. He was seeing someone else. She'd tell me everything. How much she hated him for making her feel small. How she wanted him to hurt the way she did. "So you decided to help?" Lily nodded. "I sent those texts. I thought if they both got scared, they'd stay away from each other. But then Hannah called me that night. She was screaming. She said, 'He's not breathing.'" The room went silent. Back in the cell, Hannah stared at the concrete floor. Her lawyer had just told her that Lily had confessed. But instead of relief, panic washed over her. She whispered to herself, she wasn't supposed to tell. Something wasn't right. Her reaction wasn't that of an innocent person. It was as if she feared what would happen because Lily told. Detective Harmon decided to visit Hannah again. The door buzzed open, the echo of metal against metal filling the corridor. "Hannah," he said, sitting across from her. Lily talked. She froze. She told us about the threats, about the fight, about the night Trey died. Hannah's eyes darted around the room. She wasn't supposed to say that. "Why not?" Her voice dropped. "Because someone told us not to." "Someone?" Hannah leaned forward, whispering, "He said if we talked, he'd kill us too." The detective's heart pounded. "Who is he?" She swallowed hard. "I don't know his real name, but Trey did. He called him the dealer." Flashback. 3 months before the murder. Trey and his friends are in an abandoned parking lot, laughing, loud music blasting from his car. A dark SUV pulls up. The man inside hands Trey a small bag. Cash is exchanged. Hannah stands in the distance, watching, her face pale, eyes wide. Later that night, she confronts him. "Who was that?" Trey looks nervous. "No one. Don't worry about it." But she keeps pressing. And that's when things started to unravel. Back to the present. Detective Harmon flips through Trey's phone records again. There it is, calls and texts from an unlisted number around the same time as those meetings. When traced, the number leads to a known drug distributor operating in nearby counties. Name Marcus Dale. Harmon exhales slowly. The pieces are finally coming together. The next morning, law enforcement raided an old storage facility outside of town. A man in a black hoodie tried to flee through the back, but was caught within minutes. Marcus Dale, convicted felon, wanted for distribution and assault. Inside his phone, detectives found deleted messages to both Hannah and Trey. "Keep quiet. You owe me. You can't walk away from me." It wasn't just a love story gone wrong. It was a tangled web of fear, control, and manipulation. Marcus had been using both of them. Trey to move money, Hannah to keep him quiet. And when Trey wanted out, Marcus made sure he didn't get far. But there was one last twist. When Harmon confronted Marcus with the evidence, Marcus smirked. "You think I killed the kid? I didn't have to." "What do you mean?" "I just told her what to do." Harmon froze. "Her?" Marcus grinned. "She did it for me." Hours later, Hannah was brought into the interrogation room again. She looked tired, broken. The detective placed a photo of Marcus in front of her. "This him?" Tears welled up in her eyes. She nodded. "He told me Trey was going to talk to the cops. Said if I didn't stop him, we'd both die. So you?" "I hit him. Just once. But he fell. I panicked." She sobbed. "He was my whole world, and I killed him." Silence filled the room. Outside, the rain began again. The same storm that started this tragedy seemed to be ending it. Detective Harmon closed his notebook slowly. He knew this case would never leave him. In love, in fear, and in desperation, truth and lies had become one. The story of Trey Dean Wright wasn't just about a murder. It was about the dangerous edge between love and destruction. The courtroom was silent, every seat filled, every breath held. Outside, news vans lined the street. Camera flashes lit the courthouse steps. The world wanted to see how the story of Trey Dean Wright would end. Inside, Hannah Blake sat at the defendant's table, pale and trembling, her hair pulled back, eyes hollow. She looked like a ghost of the girl she once was. To her left, her attorney whispered something she barely heard. To her right, a Bible sat open, untouched. The charge, second-degree murder. The weight of those words hung heavy in the air. Caroline Wright, Trey's mother, sat in the front row. Her hands were clasped tightly, knuckles white. A single photo of her son, smiling, alive, rested in her lap. She didn't cry anymore. She'd run out of tears weeks ago. Now there was only anger, and the aching question that haunted her. Why? The prosecutor stood, his voice steady. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," he began, "this isn't a story about an accident. It's a story about love twisted into obsession. About a young woman who couldn't let go, and made a choice that took a life." He turned toward Hannah. She said she loved him, but love doesn't kill. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Hannah stared down at her hands, refusing to look up. She remembered every second of that night. The sound of Trey's voice echoing across the dark riverbank. The argument that spiraled out of control. The look in his eyes just before everything went black. Her lawyer rose. "Objection. The prosecution is dramatizing the events." "Sustained," the judge said firmly. But the damage was done. The jury had felt it. Everyone had. The defense began their case. They painted a different picture. A fragile, broken girl manipulated by a dangerous man, Marcus Dale. A predator who saw weakness and exploited it. They showed text messages, threats, demands, and the chilling voicemail Marcus left 2 days before Trey's death. "You better handle it, or I'll handle both of you." The courtroom fell into a hush. The prosecutor fired back. "Hannah had choices," he said. "She could have gone to the police. She could have walked away. But instead, she picked up a rock." He turned toward the jury. "And she didn't stop at one hit." The images on the screen said it all: crime scene photos. Bruises. Blood. The truth. Cold and unfiltered. Detective Harmon was called to the stand. His voice was calm, but his eyes carried the weight of everything he'd seen. "I've worked homicide for 20 years, he said. This one broke me." He explained how the investigation led from love letters to threats, from 2 teenagers in love to a murder tangled in fear and control. "Hannah wasn't the monster," he said quietly. "But she wasn't innocent either." Reporters scribbled every word. The story was already making headlines. Toxic teen love turns deadly. Manipulated or murderous? Outside, crowds chanted for justice. Half blamed Marcus. Half blamed Hannah. No one could agree who the real villain was. When Marcus Dale took the stand, the tension in the room crackled like static. He wore an orange jumpsuit, wrists shackled, smirking. "Hannah," he said, "she was obsessed. I didn't tell her to do anything. She wanted him gone." Hannah's head snapped up. "That's not true," she screamed, voice breaking. The judge slammed the gavel. "Order." But the damage hit deep. The jury saw the emotion, the desperation. When court adjourned that day, the sky outside was gray and heavy. Rain began to fall as Hannah was escorted back to her cell. She pressed her forehead against the glass of the van window, watching the world blur past. She whispered, "I didn't mean to kill him," but even she wasn't sure anymore. 3 weeks later, closing arguments, the final words that would decide her fate. The prosecutor stood first. Trey Wright deserved a future, college, family, life, but instead, his story ended at 17, because she couldn't let go. He pointed at Hannah. She may have been scared. She may have been manipulated, but she still made a choice. And that choice cost a young man his life. Then came the defense. Hannah's lawyer stepped forward slowly. She was 17 too. A girl being threatened by a violent man with a gun. He paused, scanning the jury. She didn't plan this. She didn't want this. She was trying to survive. He lifted a photo of Marcus Dale. Ask yourselves, who's the real killer here? The scared girl? Or the man who told her to do it? The courtroom was still. Even the air seemed afraid to move. The judge gave the final instructions. The jury disappeared into the deliberation room. Minutes passed, then hours, then days. Each tick of the clock felt like a heartbeat fading away. Finally, on the third day, the bailiff opened the doors. Verdict reached. Everyone stood. Hannah's mother sobbed quietly behind her. Caroline Wright gripped her son's photo like it was the only thing keeping her alive. The foreman rose, hands shaking. In the case of the state versus Hannah Blake, a pause. The sound of thunder outside. Every eye locked forward. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Gasps filled the room. Hannah's knees buckled. Her mother caught her, tears falling onto the cold wooden floor. The judge spoke. Given the circumstances of coercion and the involvement of Marcus Dale, this court sentences the defendant to 12 years in state custody, with the possibility of parole in 8. Hannah's world went silent. She stared at her hands, the same hands that had once held Trey's, the same hands that had ended his life. As she was led away, she turned back one last time. Caroline Wright was standing. For a moment, their eyes met. No words were exchanged. Just two mothers, two women bound forever by loss. Caroline whispered under her breath, "I forgive you." But her eyes were wet with anger, and forgiveness didn't mean peace. Marcus Dale was later sentenced to 30 years for witness intimidation and drug trafficking. He never showed remorse. In one recorded call from prison, he laughed and said, "She did me a favor. He talked too much." Detective Harmon retired 6 months later. He couldn't shake the sound of Trey's mother crying in that courtroom, or the image of Hannah, a broken girl walking into a cell she'd built with her own fear. In his final report, he wrote, "Love can be deadly, not because it kills, but because it blinds." Years passed. The story faded from headlines. The town tried to forget. But sometimes, when it rained at night, people swore they could hear echoes near the riverbank. A girl's voice whispering, "I'm sorry," and a boy's laughter carried by the wind. 8 years later, Hannah walked out of prison. The world was different, quieter, older. She visited Trey's grave for the first time. Kneeling beside the stone, she placed a single white rose on the grass. Her voice trembled. "I wish I could take it back." She closed her eyes, a tear slipping down her cheek. "I never stopped loving you." The wind rustled through the trees. The same river that once witnessed their final fight flowed softly nearby. It was over, but the story, the tragedy of Trey Dean Wright, would never really end. Because some loves don't fade. They haunt. For more chilling true crime stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.